And welcome back to the VSN channel. Tonight, Delaware Dynasty Boys Football Podcast will be hosting the Talkin with the Gridiron podcast. It's an honor to come on here and be able to do this with you guys. Like we said, we talk dynasty football, talk fantasy football, but football is the reason where this all started. Let me say what's up to my co-host first, Ryan. Frankie, say what's up to the people.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to the pod. Excited to get this episode going. Excited to have the opportunity to be on a different platform.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? Good to see everybody. Got in here a little late, so we'll get right to it.
Yeah, Frankie, just so you know, we are filling in for the main stage VSN, Talking with the Gridiron podcast. Like I said, it's a little bit of a different thing from where we're going to go. We're just going to do a weekly recap, and we're going to jump into it. But joining us from another platform in VSN is Ben. Ben, say what's up to the people, man.
Hey, what's up? Glad to join. Always can talk football from when I wake up to when I go to bed. So, love football. So, good opportunity to talk football. Why not?
Let's do it. Week one, crazy week. For any of you guys that are bettors, I bet on games as well. My ticket was smashed. It was so bad.
Yeah, I think 90% of the public bet moneyline Broncos. I mean, I think that just says it all right there.
Not only that, I mean, the Seahawks and the Seahawks winning and the Giants winning were probably the two biggest surprises to me, and probably Vegas odds. Probably Vegas odds was the two biggest upsets too.
I bet on the Colts, bro.
Yeah, that's another big one.
That Texans probably killed a lot of people. You should never bet on week one. If I'm never going to give any gambling advice, that would be my gambling advice. Never bet on week one unless you're doing player over-unders.
Didn't the Jags win week one last year and then never win again? Or is that 2 years ago now?
That was 2 years. They won week 18 against the Colts last year.
Yeah. The famous Carson Wentz is no longer an Indianapolis Colt game.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. But it was a fun week one, man. I saw a lot of promise. Dude, shout out to you, Ryan. I see the Giants flag in the back. Saquon Barkley balled out.
Hey, he's back, baby.
That dude's trying to get paid.
Trying to get paid.
But hey, any motivation is good motivation.
Frankie, I saw a lot from Kyle Pitt or Drake London that I actually really liked, man.
I was about to say, if you saw something from Kyle Pitts, you were watching a different game because he disappeared on us.
I meant to say Drake London.
Pitts got the Lattimore treatment. I think unpopular opinion, but I think Lattimore is the best corner in the league. He follows the one all the time, and I knew we talked about on a podcast that we were picking like boom and bust for week one, and I literally was like, Pitts might finish tight end 1 at the end of the year. But he's going to get shadowed by Lattimore. He's not going to do anything. I didn't see the game, but that's basically what happened.
Yeah, he's had a lot of trouble with the Saints in the past, so not a great matchup for him, but still, no, yeah. Drake London looked really good, and Mariota looked a lot better than I was expecting him to look, so not too bad.
Hey, I never fell off the Mariota trend, to be honest with you. I've always liked his game.
I'll tell you, too, though, man. I keyed in on Drake London since I acquired shares in some dynasty leagues, man. Routes were crisp. He was playing tough, playing physical, man. I loved it.
A lot to dispel that has trouble getting open stuff that was going pre-draft. He was wide open on some of his routes he ran this week. But, Drake London looked really good out there. Great dynasty buy if you got him, a great dynasty stash if you got him. Definitely buy now if you can because the price is going to go up.
All right, fellas, the game that I want to jump into first. The monsoon game, if you want to call it that. Chicago Soldier Field looked awful going into 1 o'clock.
That's their new field too. They just put a new field down.
Yeah, I don't even care. It looked awful. But anyway,
yeah.
You know what remind me of the longest yard, the newer one that I'm saying, like when they put all the mud in it. That's like literally what's what the field looked like, really. I mean, it's hard to draw any conclusions from either team and either quarterback from that game. That's just me personally. I can't buy into anything.
All things aside, that it was a terrible game to watch, but it produced one of the coldest pictures I've ever seen in my entire life on a football field. You guys seen that picture?
With Fields,
Fields sliding, and the whole team's going, man, that's so
That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
But me being a big Trey Lance guy, it was like he said, it's tough to evaluate, man. Like this game was nasty. Conditions were very unideal. I will draw it up to this bad overall game. I don't put it on him completely. Like I said, conditions were awful. It's hard to pass in and 40-mile-an-hour winds, rain. We'll chalk it up to this. I'm ready to start evaluating Trey Lance in week 2. Sunny and 75 in San Francisco against Seattle, who just went in and beat Denver. That's where my evaluation starts.
Fair enough? I would say that. No, I'd say that's super fair. I would say that there's not really much you can take away from this game except for the fact that Justin Fields actually did look pretty good. I'd say this is probably one of the better games he's played as a pro so far. Made a lot of things happen with his legs when the play broke down or when the plays were breaking down. So that touchdown pass he threw across the field, just like a jump ball, it was actually kind of beautiful to see him just kind of lob it up there, and there was nobody around, so he pressure free. But yeah, I'd say Fields looked a lot better than a lot of people expected it coming into the season. He was a fade for a lot of people, so pleasant surprise. I'm not necessarily saying he's going to do that every week. Like we said, the rain was kind of a problem, but I kind of like what we got out of Fields.
Yeah, he was a fade mostly because the team ignored offense in the draft and free agency. So it wasn't even really directed at Fields. It's like, I mean, the quarterbacks are different, obviously, but they didn't do Trubisky any favors. And so far, they're not doing Fields any favors either. It's like, you got a young quarterback. You're supposed to help him.
Do something. Do something for him.
But, yeah, I agree with you. Fields did look good in the second half, mostly. I remember really only one time that he looked pretty good last year was that game. I think it was a Monday night game at Pittsburgh. He had, like, a really solid game against a pretty good defense. But really, other than that from his rookie year, that's about it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for the kid. I like him, to be honest. So, I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan, so week one didn't go too well. But
week 1 was rough for you boys.
It's tough to project anything for Trey Lance. It's weird because we blame the performance on the weather for Trey Lance, but yet we're praising Justin Fields
at the same
time
for
playing the same field, doing the same thing.
Right.
So say what you want about that, but I'm a Justin Fields hater, to be honest with you. I don't think it'll be great, but the fact that I was impressed in the second half, you look pretty good.
Can I just ask a question, and maybe I missed out on this? I was a little bit surprised. When did Kittle get hurt, or was he hurt all summer?
I think it was Tuesday practice. He got hurt, and then he weren't for sure.
Okay, that's why I was like, how all of a sudden he's out? I'm like, I didn't think he was hurt. So it happened in practice this week. Okay.
Right. I will tell you, though, from a dynasty perspective, even if Trey Lance isn't throwing well, he can still win you games with his legs. He did show that his ability to move the pocket, to move and, convert and move the chains on third down. He had 5 third-down conversions with his legs alone. That's a huge floor to have. I think the passing is going to come. Like I said, this is the guy that only has 3 starts.
Yeah,
Let's
I think
relax.
He's sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
I
feel like there's a reason that they are starting him over Garoppolo. The reason is, they know there's probably going to be some growing pains, but they also know he can do things that, let's just be frank, Garoppolo cannot. So they're willing to take the risks for the upside. And I can't really blame them, to be honest.
But we want to talk about Justin Fields, the Steelers game last year. Let's jump into it, boys. The diehard Pittsburgh Steelers fan over here. We go into the jungle. It wasn't the prettiest of games.
One of the wildest games I've watched in a week 1 in a long time. I felt like that game lasted for the entire Sunday.
That game is why I love football, though.
Yeah,
it really is. I don't love anything more than watching 2 kickers fail to win games. It makes me so happy. It just blows my mind. Like nobody wants to hit the field goal.
Can we talk about
I don't understand why these professional football coaches get paid millions and millions of dollars, and when the game comes down to it, they're like, let's just leave it to the least athletic guy on the field who gets paid probably the least amount of any of our starting players on the field. Let's give him a chance.
Can we leave Justin Tucker? I don't want to hear it.
He wants to talk about the defense because their defense was phenomenal in that game.
I mean, man, dude,
against that offense too.
You know, we talk about Burrow's rejuvenated O-line. Cool. You're coming in against the best front. You're coming in against the best front seven in football. Have been since 2017. We've led the league in sacks every year since 2017. So anybody that wants to argue about this front seven, stop it. Let's pump the brakes, boys. 7 sacks, 4 picks, 2 fumble recoveries. It's just a beautiful game, man.
That TJ Watt pick was crazy. Got
it. I'll definitely say this was one of the more entertaining games of the week for sure. But as far as fantasy goes and dynasty goes, Najee Harris, I've been low on Najee Harris. I've been a Najee Harris fade all off season, and him averaging 2.3 yards per carry while he was in the game, not great. I talked a lot of coming into this season how he averaged under 4 yards a carry last season, and if he hadn't scored that touchdown last week, I don't even really know if he had a reliable fantasy week in any aspect. So he's definitely a sell for me if you can. I know there's a lot of people who are still believers, so you should be able to still get a pretty good haul for Najee, but still young, still going to be a hog in terms of share of that offense, snap shares in that offense. But I'm still not a Najee guy. He didn't impress me with anything that he did on the field on Sunday, so I definitely would fade Najee still going into the year.
Our O-line is awful.
That doesn't help the case, man. You're talking about a running back, and you're like, oh, yeah, he's got a bad offensive line.
It's not Najee's fault, man.
I'm not saying Najee's bad. I'm just saying get rid of him if you can.
The last thing I want to say, though, for anybody that was, down on Deontay's target shares, new QB, things like that, again, led the team in targets. Again.
50% target share.
Talent shines.
And made the insane catch to clutch the win.
You saw that sideline one-handed catch. That shit is nuts. That catch was nuts. For sure.
I think it was the best catch of week 1.
For sure.
That Evans touchdown catch was pretty good too. And
the
one that didn't count by Chase was crazy. But he was
if that one hits, that's a different story. But so hype when he made that catch. Oh my god.
Yeah, same. I thought he came down. I was.
Yeah, because I needed.
They still would have had to kick the extra point anyways.
Yeah. But yeah, that catch by Deontay was absolutely insane. Oh, dude. Credit to him. We got him locked up.
The charts.
He's a Steeler for a while. He's locked up. Deli, I'm gonna let you jump into it, man. Let's talk about your Giants. What'd you like? What didn't you like?
Oh, I mean, to be honest with you, there still really wasn't much to like outside of Saquon Barkley.
I thought Daniel Jones played a relatively.
Daniel Jones played decent, but he still made some plays. I was just like, okay, he's still Daniel Jones.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. And I think him and DeBoll are gonna have a weird relationship because anytime Daniel Jones messes up, DeBoll's right down his throat, which I appreciate. He needs it, but like, I don't know. I'm still just not a believer. I think that the offense ran through Saquon, and if you take Saquon out, we lose the game easy.
My thing is like when on Kadarius Toney's 7 snaps, he touched the ball 3 times, and then those 3 times were explosive plays, averages of 12 yards a play. Why? What is the disconnect with Kadarius Toney not being on the field? He's the most explosive playmaker you have outside.
I don't think technically 12 yards per catch is like a stellar number. To be honest with you, I was looking for like an 18 to be impressed with.
We're moving the ball. We're moving the chains. That's automatic first.
Right. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I'm not going to get excited about him until he has proper usage. Like you said, he got 7 snaps. Like he's not out there on the field. So like,
why? But why?
I mean, it's a good takeaway.
He's always been a guy.
He was injured throughout the week. We're all talking at the same time, but he was injured throughout the week.
Dude, if Kenny G's on the field, Kadarius Toney needs to be on the field.
Kenny G is just a liability. It's embarrassing.
Tony's always just been a guy coming out of Florida too, though. That's been a little bit of a character concern. He's kind of rubbed people the wrong way a lot, and this isn't the coaching staff that drafted him. So I mean, and even the coaching staff that drafted him had issues with him. So I mean, it's not that difficult to see that a coaching staff may maybe have some difficulties communicating with him, so they may think he doesn't understand the offense too well or something like that. But I don't disagree. He is one of the more explosive people on that team. But if he can't get along with the coaching staff or he can't get along with the offensive skill position room, like I can definitely understand why he's not on the field, but I would love to see him on the field because when he gets the ball in his hand, he's one of the more dynamic players in the NFL, period. But it's kind of twofold. You kind of got to play the game when you're in there.
So he's getting that Brandon Ayuk 2021 doghouse treatment.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it sounds exactly like that.
But Dable's a good coach, though. So, I mean, I'm not saying Shanahan's not. I'm just saying Dable, just to make an example, Dable did exactly what I just kind of said. Came down to the end of the game. What did he do? He didn't rely on his kicker. He gave it to Saquon Barkley. Like, let Saquon do Saquon things. And guess what? The Giants won because their best player had the ball in his hand at the end of the game. So, I think that was a great game for Saquon. I was big on Saquon coming into the season, so awesome to see that pan out.
Yeah. So no, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask you, flip the script. What are you guys feeling? What are you guys feeling about Derrick Henry in his first game back since breaking his foot?
I mean, he got fucking put down by a giant.
He got depleted.
So I mean, he got just blown up, which rarely happens. But no, I'm not concerned by just getting his feet set. But I just want to say out there, I've been saying on record multiple times that the Titans are the most fraudulent team in the whole NFL. They proved it week 1, so go Giants, baby.
Yeah, I think Derrick Henry doesn't leave much to be concerned about per se. I think it's just more or less the Titans' offense in general is going to be very easy to predict. They don't have any good wide receivers really. Robert Woods didn't play too much, and when he didn't get too much done. So then they relied on Kyle Phillips, 5th-round rookie. And Treylon Burks didn't look great. Just kind of predictable offense. So Derrick Henry's going to see a lot of stacked boxes this year, which is going to make it a little bit more difficult for him. But I think he's going to be all right. Just first week 1 jitters, didn't play in the preseason. I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, he put up a decent stat line. It's not like he had 20 yards. I just was curious. I think from memory it was like 80 yards, and I checked. It was 20 carries, 81 yards.
Yeah,
nothing alarming. I mean, if he was your round 1 pick, you're not like, oh shit, not yet at least.
You shouldn't be concerned.
But Kyle Phillips showed.
I mean, a touchdown makes a big difference there.
Kyle Phillips played well. You guys were talking about Kyle. He played really well. I was very impressed.
Yeah, but you're biased. You've been on him. You like Kyle Phillips coming into the season, so
yeah, for sure.
He played okay. I mean, he didn't look great. He looked okay for a 5th-round rookie, but
bro, I want any slot. I want any slow slot guy that can get open. Of course, why not? I love slow slot guys.
Nah, I'm good. But I think if you take one of those Hilliard touchdowns away and put it on Henry's stat line, I think we're having a whole different conversation. We're not even talking about being concerned about Henry. So Hilliard's not going to have 2 touchdowns every week. So I think you can just chalk that up to a fluke vulture touchdown week for Henry. But I think if you just tack one of those onto Henry's week, it's not a concern whatsoever.
Yeah, Henry's a special player for the football community. You know it's bad when he gets 85 yards and we're like, is he okay? We're so spoiled with him carrying the ball 30, 40 times a game, realistically, and getting 150 yards. And if it's not that, we're like, oh man, Henry's getting old.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
he
what.
Still looks explosive out there.
Yeah,
I'll tell you who looked explosive, and that's Jonathan Taylor. Chalk it up to what you want. He's playing Houston. I don't
31
care.
carries.
Jonathan Taylor, boys, he is the real deal.
Just to transition over to the Colts-Texans game, and we're leading off with Jonathan Taylor.
Absolutely. But you can talk about.
Think about the last I don't know. I feel like over 20 years, can we name? Well, I guess Zeke had a really good run too, but Zeke and Taylor. No, I'm comparing different schools. Taylor's the only Wisconsin running back that turned into anything.
Melvin Gordon's been pretty.
I like Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon, okay, Gordon, but that's about it out of the big names the last
But
yeah,
I wouldn't say Melvin Gordon's been Jonathan Taylor successful.
No. But it was just the dude showed you last year. He's the best running back in the league. Came out week 1, balled out again, did his thing. But if we're going to talk about the Colts, man, the ascension of Michael Pittman is turning into a true wide receiver one,
13 targets. Guy. 13 targets, 121 yards and a touch. Like, that's a great coming out party for Michael Pittman.
One guy I wanted and didn't get. 3 weeks.
I couldn't get him.
I wanted him. He was like, there were like, I feel like every year you do fantasy, there's always at least 3 guys, probably 5 guys that you're like, I want him, but you're not going to take him 20 picks early either. And I feel like most of the guys that I wanted, I didn't get. I'm happy with my teams, but like for the most part, I'm like, I didn't get him. I wanted him. Damn. And Pittman was one of those guys. Pittman could be like a top 10 fantasy receiver just by volume. Because I was trying. It's funny. My brother-in-law has him, and I made a pretty even trade for him last week, like before the game, and he let it sit for 4 or 5 days, and finally on Sunday I was just like, I'm canceling this. I'm just annoyed at this point. But it was a 2 for 2. It was Mike Williams and Lazard, which I know he was out, but he has Rodgers as his quarterback, obviously, for Pittman and Elijah Moore. So it wasn't like slanted or unfair one way or the other. He didn't take it, so, and now he came over tonight for like something else. I'm like, yeah, don't sell Pittman unless you get blown away with an offer. I'm like, Matt Ryan treats his number 1 receiver in fantasy really, really well.
Yeah, you're talking to the biggest Julio Jones fan in the world, and you're talking to the biggest Julio Jones fan in the world, so he understands.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about Julio being on
Julio looked good too.
Julio looked good too. He looked rejuvenated. It was fun.
He looked great.
Julio, man.
I'm still mad he didn't go sign with Green Bay. We're kind of getting off track here with talking about the Colts game, but yeah, Julio looked great.
I was going to say, what are we doing here? Are we not going to talk about the flip the script side either? How like the Texans literally said, "All right, screw it, we're just going to tie the game."
Yeah, and they fed Rex Burkhead. Like, I still don't understand feeding Rex Burkhead like 20 plus carries when you have Dameon Pierce. Obviously he didn't have high draft capital, but still he's a rookie and you're a rebuilding team. Like, what the hell are you doing giving all those carries to a guy who's 32, 33 years old, I think he is at this point in his career. So I don't understand the Texans game plan. There wasn't really much to take away in terms of fantasy from the Texans in general. I think Dameon Pierce is going to be okay. Like I said, he's a rookie, and they got to see what they have in him. So I think he's going to get that volume as the season progresses. Davis Mills looked pretty good. I think he looked just as good as Matt Ryan did. So I think Davis Mills is a guy who can be a reliable QB2 for you if you're in a super flex league. But not too much to take away from the Texans side of this.
Reliable was reliable. Brandon Cooks was Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, Brandon Cooks is going to do Brandon Cooks things, though. So you don't really need to talk. Brandon Cooks is literally like, he's the wide receiver 8.
Guaranteed 1,000 yards like every year.
Yeah, he's just going to be wide receiver 8 to wide receiver 15 every year. You don't really got to talk about it. That's just what's going to happen.
On another note, though, do you think, on a scale of 1 to 10, how pissed off do you think Aaron Rodgers was after Sunday?
If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm on a 10, bro.
Bro.
I'm on a 10. Week 1.
Can we really say it's anyone's fault besides his own?
No.
Devontae left because he didn't want to play with Jordan Love. It's really obvious. The Packers' offer was exactly the same. He didn't trust that Rodgers was going to play for 3 or 4 more years, and he saw Jordan Love in practice every single day. It's like, I don't want to play with that. That's the biggest reason Devontae's not there.
And why would anybody want to come play with Aaron Rodgers the way he's been acting the last few years? Like, he's just been acting like a shit don't stink, and I personally couldn't imagine wanting to go into a locker room like that, but
he's been acting like Brett Favre
at
the end of his career.
I would love to play with fucking the most skilled quarterback in the NFL if I'm a player. I don't care. I don't care if this man comes in high on perks every day, man. I'm playing with the greatest quarterback.
Listen, I don't disagree with you, but Patrick Mahomes is sitting out there needing a wide receiver 1. So it's not like you don't got options. There's great quarterbacks that need wide receivers. So if I got to pick, if I can pick to not play with Aaron Rodgers and I can go play with Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady, Cool. And I don't got to play in cold-ass Green Bay and little-ass, nothing to do, like, bumfuck nowhere Green Bay. Cool. I'm out on that. Like, cool.
Bro,
I can understand why nobody went there.
First offensive drive of the game, Christian Watson blows by his corner, 45 yards in the breadbasket.
It's right there. It's right there. I was waiting for all four of us to do the same exact thing.
That's because all four of us could have done exactly what Christian Watson did in that instant. We all could have dropped that pass. Like,
bro, I thought Rodgers was retiring mid-game. I was like, yeah, Rodgers is walking out.
Can I just kind of like maybe like flip it to, do we think like, I mean, week one, we always overreact, but just like, do we think I'm asking the group, do we think the Packers are going to win that division still?
I picked them to win the division, so I'm not going to go off it.
I think that defense
week one overreactions are way too easy. They'll probably still win it.
I think that defense is still good enough. They're not going to have to play Justin Jefferson every week, so I think that defense is still good enough for them to win that division.
I just can't trust Kirk Cousins. If you're telling me like Kirk Cousins needs to win in week 17 or week 18 or whatever, you tell me he's going to do it. Probably not.
Right.
So that's like one of the only reasons I can't pick the Vikings. Like, their roster's pretty good. It's very good, especially offensively. But yeah, I'm still on Packers. I was just curious to see where you guys.
And Jair Alexander got left on an island.
Yeah, can we like also just to pivot away from something? Are we ready for the conversation that Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in the league?
Period. I mean, who else is in contention?
I still got Devontae.
Cup came out after year and balled.
I think Devontae, for me personally, and that there's so many great receivers that you can name 1 through 6, and they're all very close to each other. To me, Devontae is one simply because there's nothing he can't do. There's no weakness. You can put him anywhere, and he's not going to drop it. He's going to make one-handed catches. He's going to like he doesn't have a weakness. And I'm sure you could say that about everyone really we just named, but to me, he's the most complete receiver. He can run any route from any position on the field and doesn't drop the ball. Like, he's money.
I'm not gonna badmouth Devontae Adams at all. So I'm not gonna disagree with anything you just said. And I've said Devontae Adams is the best wide receiver in the league, but I think Jefferson snatched the crown. Like, I think everything that you just said about Adams applies to Jefferson as well. And his speed when he gets the ball in his hand is just different as well. Like, he's just a different cat. Like, he wants the ball. He's going to get the ball. Like, that touchdown he had when there was nobody within 10 yards, like, that's just silly stuff. Like,
it's going to be really fun to, compare, let's say 2-3 years from now, Chase versus Jefferson. Like, I feel like those will be 1-2, but who's going to be better?
They're generational.
It's pretty close. It's really close.
They're generational to me. They stand out. Like, they're going to leave a legacy on the game, like Randy Moss or Terrell Owens. Like, they're generational wide receivers.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't put anything past Kupp either, man. Kupp came out after a Triple Crown year and just balled out week 1 too. I mean, there's a lot of great receivers in this league.
I still feel like there's and I don't know, like, I got no evidence or proof behind this, but I feel like every once in a while the DBs look at Kupp and still think, you're white, you're not that fast, you're not that good. Like, I just feel like that happens, and maybe I'm wrong. I just feel like there's still some doubt, like, we've seen you on tape, but you're not that fast, you're not that good, and then he just burns them, like, regularly. I don't know.
He's very, very good at finding open space in the field.
He's very deceptive, too. His route running is crisp. But
yeah,
Devontae Adams, this number is insane to me. 45% target share. That number is absolutely insane to me.
Just like they're back at Fresno State.
That can't happen, like, for 17 games. That can't happen.
Why not? It happened with Rodgers.
Good. Not when you have Waller and Renfro, too. Like,
I mean, bro, 45%. What did he end up with, like 18 targets?
Something silly.
It was crazy. And they still lose the game.
Yeah, I mean, that was Chargers got
Chargers are just good at football.
Well, not only that,
they 17 targets. 17 targets.
Okay, I said 18.
We're close with 18, yeah. But Chargers have I was going to say they open back-to-back AFC West. They got the Chiefs this week on Thursday.
Yeah, that Thursday night. Chiefs.
Thursday night.
Hey, shush, we got picks later, boys.
We got
I know. I'm just That's called a tease.
We just said who was playing. That's all we said. Neither one of us said we like this team or this team or this team.
Just a tease.
Hey, I'm just.
Can I bring up a game that was I don't really think was on TV, and I mostly saw highlights, but Lions and Eagles. That was pretty entertaining. Like that was
out red zone.
Like a lot of points, a lot of offense. Like you got Swift going crazy, AJ Brown looking like Titans AJ Brown. Like that was an entertaining game.
Yeah, Swift was my breakout player of the year. Frankie doesn't like Swift, so Frankie won't be.
A very untrue statement, sir. Do not slander me. I am a Swift fan. Don't do that. I'm just a Mr. I'm not a Lions guy. Just like we're talking about Chicago's a bad offense. Lions are historically bad offense. Avoid bad offenses in fantasy football is my advice.
But Swift went crazy.
They might not be a bad offense this year.
This is true.
Swift went crazy. But another player, people are down on this player, but this is 7 straight games with 8+ catches. Are we going to start buying in on Amon-Ra St. Brown? I think he's legit. I really do.
He's legit until Jameson Williams comes back from his injury.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
I mean,
Amon St. Brown, if he's that good, he's that good, right? I mean, he's still going to get targets. But I know what you're saying. I mean, Jameson. I mean, most people said Jameson would have been the first wide receiver off the board without the injury.
Should have been. Yeah.
He would have been, for sure.
But
I think AJ Brown was my breakout player of the year. So I own AJ Brown in quite a few leagues. I love AJ Brown. Came out with 13 targets and converted those into 10 catches. Basically, all he was missing was a touchdown from his week. He had 155 yards. So he never got targeted like that when he was in Tennessee. He had to make do with getting 6, 7, 8 targets a game and turning those into just great run after catch, yards after catch type monster. And he was that again this week. But he was able to get 10 targets. So I'm very excited to see what AJ Brown does this season. So that's my breakout player of the year. And as long as he stays healthy, I think he's going to be wide receiver 1 with the potential to be wide receiver 1. But Justin Jefferson might have something to say about that. And Chase.
Well, here's the thing: is like AJ Brown, man, that's insane target share. I actually lost my train of thought, so somebody else started talking. They'll come back to me.
The one thing about
AJ was the Philadelphia offense, 450 total yards of offense. I mean, there was nothing they couldn't do. I mean, you look at Jalen Hurts.
4 different people scored rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, you look at Jalen Hurts, 18 of 32. You think, okay, he wasn't really efficient, but believe it or not, 7 of those were throwaway passes that nothing was just there. Jalen's showing poise, man. Something's not there. He's getting rid of the ball. He's making smart decisions with the ball. Anytime you have an offense that can chew the clock out, 220 total yards on the ground, that's clock-eating material. That's how you win in playoff games.
Absolutely. Even before week 1 disaster, which the Cowboys week 1 was a disaster, I was like, the Eagles are winning the division. Like, they have the most complete team. Like, I said that, and I'm a big Cowboys fan. I'm just a realist. Like, the Eagles have the most complete team. It's just the bottom line.
For sure.
No, I will say this.
The thing about Jalen Hurts is, like, as much as he gets hit for his accuracy, past 10-yard throws this week, he was the most accurate in the NFL. Nobody was more accurate past 10 yards. That's crazy to me. So already see big improvement out of Jalen Hurts week 1.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And had 90 yards rushing.
Yeah. Now,
and a touchdown.
I get a little scared when my QB runs 15 times a game. Like that's a little scary from times, especially with someone like Jalen's size. I'd much rather Josh Allen do it at his size than Jalen, but I'll tell you what, man.
The Bills are riding a dangerous slope there too. I know he's jacked and built and everything, but you don't want him playing like that for the next 3 to 5 years. Like, I mean, you're asking for, and I'm not too concerned because, like we've talked about, he's so jacked, but you don't want your quarterback running that much. You can't name a Super Bowl winner that has had the quarterback average over 10 carries a game in the last probably 30 years. It's just not the formula.
I will say
probably ever. I don't think.
But the Bills are the best team in the league. on paper. So
I agree with that. I have the Bills winning the Super Bowl this year, boys.
Me too.
But the thing about the Eagles is, I watched their defense. Their tackling was terrible. They could not tackle an open field.
Yeah, I was just going to say their coach definitely is going to have a lot to talk about. You get a win, but he's going to ream into them defense, like you said, defensively for sure.
Yeah, their tackling was piss poor,
especially because they got talent on defense.
Damn right they did.
They got talent on defense. They should not give up 35 points.
Oh, cool too. The Eagles gave up 10 yards of per carry on the ground without Jordan Davis. With Jordan Davis, they gave up 2. Jordan Davis is going to be an animal.
He's going to be the truth.
He's going to be an animal in this league.
So good, dude. I was impressed watching him, and I hate the Eagles, dude. You think I want to enjoy watching the Eagles play great football? Hell no.
They looked really good.
It's not good.
I mean, I think Jordan Davis, kind of has the potential to be a more athletic Vince Wilfork. That's what he's built so they're both so large, but so fast. That's the player that comes to mind for me is Wilfork.
Yeah,
and they get Dean, right? Kobe Dean.
Yeah. They got Dean too. Third round, 84th pick. Really pisses me off.
That defense is going to be special.
I wanted Dallas to draft Dean 5 different times.
Same with the Falcons.
Yeah, I was waiting for the Giants to pull the trigger, but you know what? It is what it is. I think he was a fantasy darling for any team, really.
Yeah.
I didn't expect you guys to cut Blake Martinez either. That's something that we didn't talk about. That was a weird cut for the Giants.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know how to feel about that. When I saw it, I was like, first question was why? And then I really couldn't think of a single reason. Maybe it was his contract. I don't know. I didn't look into it. It kind of just pissed me off more than anything, so I just kind of act like it didn't happen.
We got a comment from YouTube. Let's bring it in. This I am him. AJ Brown brought that extra dimension that the offense needed. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Frankie and Ryan.
It's going to be just like the Josh Allen Stephon Diggs pairing.
Yeah, these two have been on AJ Brown the whole offseason. I've been on Jalen Hurts, but AJ Brown, I didn't know how this was going to play out. I didn't think this offense can produce 2,000-yard wide receivers. I didn't know what the target share was going to look like. But A.J. Brown is that guy. No other way to put it.
A.J. Brown's that dude. I do think that there's been a little bit of concern with Devontae Smith not doing anything. I think that's kind of just going to be a little bit more with the ebbs and the flows of this offense. I think Devontae Smith's going to be okay. I don't think he's ever going to be a wide receiver 2 for you or anything, but I think he's going to be a fine flex option. Going forward, I would be okay with that. I definitely would understand if you want to sell pretty quickly on Devontae Smith, though.
And like Ben said, if the Eagles can clean up some things on the defensive side of the ball, not only are they the most talented roster in the NFC East, but I am willing to put them in that same conversation with the Rams and the Bucks as one of the most talented rosters overall in the NFC. They are loaded on both sides of the ball. Just got to clean up.
I picked them to make it to the Super Bowl when we did
I was going to say, Frankie had them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you did. Hey. We're talking about them. Let's keep it in the East. Dak goes down. Unfortunately, man, I have a lot of shares of Dak in multiple places. It sucks. But I'm telling you, as an outsider looking in, I do not think the Cowboys are going to win anything significant until Jerry Jones steps the hell back and just lets the organization do its thing. I just don't like how involved Jerry Jones is, man. Like this, I don't know. It's just a lot of toxic things in Dallas. Like, I don't know, man. You're a Cowboys fan. Speak all you want on the Cowboys.
The problem is his son is the next in line, and his son's not any better. So it ain't getting any better.
Son's even worse, in my opinion.
It ain't getting any better. We're stuck with the Joneses.
Nepotism.
I will say this, though. It hasn't, obviously it hasn't led to really success in January, but ever since the Manziel draft, which was, 2013 maybe, so solid 10 years where finally Jerry, somebody told him, somebody convinced him, you suck at drafting, so we're not going to listen to you anymore. And, literally, yes, he talks to the media, he does all this stuff, and, he as a Cowboys fan, you deal with it. But I guess what I'm trying to say is personnel-wise, he does very, very little now, which is great because he sucked at evaluating players. So as far as of course he's the owner, he's signing the checks, like he's involved. But Manziel is one example. Another example I think was the Ridley year. He was pounding the table. He wanted somebody, and they were like, "No, we're not doing it. We don't care." And that's just it's a good thing that they're not always listening to him personnel-wise, because he really cannot evaluate talent at all. So I will say there isn't, being a Cowboys fan, there isn't as much, to me, the blame. I know Jerry's the top. He writes all the checks. He's the owner, and he's very present, does a lot of media stuff. But to me, mostly like last year too, like in the playoffs, like, bro, that's on the players and the coaches. It ain't Jerry Jones' fault they played like crap against the 49ers. It's not Jerry Jones' fault. Dak had a bad game. The penalties were insane. Like that, Jerry to me isn't even in the top 5 of problems of why we haven't won. It's just, for me, just following it as closely as I do. The only thing Jerry does now is talk to the media and the radio. That's all he does.
Yeah. Any concern from the Cowboys offense in general? I mean, even before Dak got hurt, he only had 54 yards passing. The number 1 scoring offense last year, and they're the only team that didn't score a touchdown this in week 1.
Yeah, they put up 3 points with like literally the lowest scoring in the entire league. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
So you got you concerned about the Cowboys going forward, or we're just pushing it off? I mean, Dak's going to miss time, so obviously the next however long it's going to be rough. But
the problem is Cooper Rush isn't even in the top 50 of best quarterbacks. He's probably in the bottom 10 of backups. So he's
for sure
not. He's you can do a lot better as a backup. So I'm not too optimistic about the next couple of weeks. Apparently, and I don't know what to read into this yet, but I guess Dak might not be out as long. They didn't put him on an IR because the one thing they did say on Sunday. I don't know who said it, but they were like, we won't know an exact time frame until we're in the surgery, until they get in there. And apparently it's supposedly it's not supposed to be 6 to 8 weeks anymore. It might be only 4 or 5, which would be more ideal. But they didn't put them on IR because the doctor, when they went in, it wasn't, I don't know the exact details, but it probably isn't a 6 to 8 week thing, which is a good thing.
Russ had the same injury last year, and he was back within 4 weeks.
Yeah,
well, I will say Russ did struggle.
Russ didn't look the same when he came back, though. He didn't. The last couple of games.
But to answer your question, it was weird because the first drive, it stalled. They got, they kicked a field goal, but they got first downs. They moved the ball. And then after that, they could not move the ball. So it was just weird. It's weird watching a football game. Sometimes, even the team will go down and score a touchdown, and then, they don't even touch the other side of the 50 the rest of the game. It's you just did that. What happened?
Yeah, I agree with
I think there was two, on Sunday night, if speaking from experience, not experience, that was the wrong word, but whenever they did a trick play, it did not work. And the trick plays were just not, they did a reverse that involved Pollard and Lamb, and I'm sitting there dude, just run the regular play. This isn't working. You're not going to fool Tampa. It's just not going to happen. They're too good. These trick plays aren't going to work. But I will say one thing from being a Dallas fan is what annoys me sometimes is there are weeks when you watch a Kellen Moore called game where you're man, look like the best play caller in the league, and then you go to the next week, look like the worst play caller in the league. It doesn't make any sense. Sometimes he's a really good play caller, and sometimes he's really bad. I wouldn't put much blame for Sunday night on him. I think Dak missed some throws that he usually makes. The wide receivers, just besides CeeDee Lamb, that wasn't, they don't have anyone, to be honest, with the injuries that they're dealing with. I don't know. I wasn't too high on them. I really did think the Eagles were going to win the division before the season, and I'd say that's a pretty safe bet right now.
My last thing about Kellen Moore, Zeke is averaging 5.3 yards per carry. He has 10 carries. The game wasn't out of hand.
Yeah.
The game wasn't out of hand until 7 minutes in the fourth quarter. Can we come to some kind of understanding why the man that's averaging almost 5.5 yards per clip is not touching the ball? Can we
It's like he looked the best that he looked in the last 3 years, and
he looked good.
To your point, only touched it 10 times.
And
by the way, that rookie, just to call out a different player, that rookie left tackle Tyler Smith did pretty good.
Yeah, he played well.
Didn't really hear his name called, didn't penalty, didn't get beat. He played pretty good. If I'm going to take away something positive from the game, it would be the defense. You hold Brady to less than 20 points, you did something right. Brady's pretty freaking good. That offense is pretty good. So you hold them to less than 20, and Tyler Smith played pretty good. So, that's the optimistic. That's all I can give you, optimistic wise.
I think Zeke and Schultz both look pretty good as far as fantasy goes and as far as optimism for the Cowboys go. I think Schultz, even with Cooper Rush coming in, most backups usually rely on tight ends pretty heavily. So yeah. So I think Schultz will probably be fine,
especially with he's got that Jason Witten, he just knows how to get open. He's not super athletic. He just gets open.
I wasn't really big on Pollard coming into the season, so I don't necessarily think he's going to be super great with Cooper Rush because his biggest upside is more or less in the receiving game. And Cooper Rush, dump offs are nice for a running back, but if Zeke is looking as good as Zeke looked, I think he'll be in there a little bit more frequently. So as far as the Cowboys go, I think those are the only two that I would be optimistic on. Never been a big CeeDee Lamb guy except for coming out of college, and since then he hasn't proved anything. So I'm definitely very concerned with CeeDee Lamb. I think if you have the opportunity to sell CeeDee Lamb, I would go ahead and take that opportunity now. Don't hold on if you don't have to. Take what you can get. But yeah, I'm not too excited about this Cowboys offense moving forward. The Bucs, I think, looked okay. A little concerning. Brady is 45, so not being able to put up more than 20 points on a Cowboys defense that was considered to not be super great. It's not a bad defense by any stretch, but nobody's saying it's a world beater or one of the best defenses in the league. So not being able to put up 3 touchdowns on that defense is smidge concerning, but it's week 1 on the road, and you don't have all of your offensive weapons available. So
I'm telling you right now, though, you predicted him being Defensive Player of the Year. Micah Parsons is a dog, and absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's my pick of the year, baby.
I forget that I forgot to mention his name when he said optimism. And that's the other thing. The one thing that we'll take away is the majority of that defense is young. Most of their starters and the people that play are young, and I honestly think that. One thing is Jerry pays his assistants. If he wants you to stay, he can kind of convince you to stay. I think Quinn probably could have taken a head coaching job. I don't know if there was an exact offer, but I'm pretty sure that, with him making a Super Bowl with Atlanta, if he wanted to be a head coach, he probably would be right now. Maybe not. Maybe there. But I hope. I guess what I'm saying is I hope he's the DC for a long time, and I think that's the plan.
Yeah. Just to flip the script. To the other side, it is week 1 for Tom Brady in a game where the Cowboys put up 3 points. How are we feeling about Tom Brady? Is he still going to be Tom Brady, or are we going to wait another week to see that?
He's a top 10.
Is it fair to judge him on a game where he didn't even have to do a lot?
I'm not betting against Tom Brady ever until Father Time. Until that,
he's a top 10 fantasy quarterback for sure. Probably top 5, to be honest.
It's Tom Brady.
Top 5 quarterbacks.
Also, selling CeeDee Lamb.
10, I'd say.
Selling CeeDee Lamb right now is dangerous because this is his absolute floor right now. So it's hard to sell CeeDee now for anything that he might have been worth last week because everybody's going to be like, "Oh, he just put up this," but in 2 weeks it could be a different story. You know what I mean?
I do like that he was heavily focalizing the offense. He had 11 targets. Obviously Dak missed some throws there. CeeDee dropped.
He did.
CeeDee dropped the ball on that slant route across the middle against Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis and Nakobe Dean aren't the worst corners in the world. They're decently tough matchups. They're not Eli Apple. But
11 targets don't mean anything when you get 2 catches though, man. That's
like I said, it's not all on Lamb. Some of it was on Dak too, man. Like I said, this offense didn't look good.
Yeah, Dak was not efficient.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying, I was low on Lamb coming into the season, so this isn't a revelation for me. But I'm just I'm not necessarily saying sell him right now, but as soon as you can sell CeeDee Lamb for any sort of value, I think you should just pull the trigger on that, especially in Dynasty. Don't hold on. Get value. Get value as soon as you can get value.
Fair enough. The weirdest game to me was the Seahawks game on Monday, and I say that because you're watching this game, Russ's homecoming. He got booed out of the stadium. I've never seen a QB win a Super Bowl for a franchise, come back and get absolutely booed out of the stadium. It makes no sense to me. But either way, Nathaniel Hackett had a lot of explaining to do in the fourth quarter.
He also lost them a Super Bowl, to be fair.
Yeah, but
not his fault.
The coaching not giving it to Marshawn
he threw the ball. I'm not blaming him for the play call, but he did throw the ball. So there's that.
Ball, yes. When you talk about that game, can we just say Geno Smith was 17 for 18 in the first half? Geno Smith was 17 for 18, and possibly on paper, Denver has the best defense in the league. They got talent everywhere.
Well, Surtain's is a lockdown.
They got talent, and they made Geno look
DK
like Peyton Manning.
Stiff-arm Pat Surtain. He threw that man 4 yards.
Doesn't matter.
DK's built different.
Yeah, he's built.
That Seahawks offensive line probably looked better than I've seen it look in a long time, though.
Charles
nice
was really impressive.
They've been working on the last 2 seasons, so I'm glad that it's finally coming together.
It's just wild that was the biggest thing with Russ the whole time is he could never get a good offensive line in front of him, and then Geno Smith gets back there, and it's like, all right, well, here's a brick wall. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I was very impressed with Charles Cross. He looked really good as a blind side. Like I was very impressed. But Russ didn't have a good game by any means.
Ole Miss, right? The rookie first round pick, Cross.
Yep.
Okay. Just making sure. Yep.
And Russ didn't have a good game by any means. He had 2 gimme picks dropped. The one where it hit Jamal Adams in the face mask and Quadri Diggs wide open in the end zone. Like Russ, I don't know, man. I'm gonna chalk it up to week 1 jitters, but I need 9 wins for the Broncos this season.
Week 1 jitters and going back into that kind of emotional environment, I don't think you can take too much away.
That was similar to Brady going back to New England. It's like the easiest comparison to make. Brady, they won that game, but Brady played like crap.
I think Peyton lost his welcoming home game to Indianapolis as well, if I'm not mistaken.
So. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
But can you explain this to me, Ryan? 50 seconds on the clock, 4th and 5. What the hell are you doing kicking a field goal?
It's really depressing to watch when you just pay
and letting all that time run off the clock.
Quarterback that you just first of all traded all this value away to go get him, and then paid him all this money, and then you have 50 seconds on the clock with 3 timeouts on the 50-yard line.
4th and 5.
And you're just like, we're just gonna kick the field goal. We're gonna run clock down. Like I don't know what they're doing. I
don't think the Ravens would have done that. And they have Tucker.
Yeah, right.
I don't think they would have done that. They probably would have went for it. And they have the best kicker in the league.
It's tough. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how are you, Russell Wilson, as skilled as you are, and you're okay with this. Like I'm rebelling and I'm snapping that fucking football.
But he's a Christian man. He's not going to say anything.
Yeah, what he said in the press conference. I'm reading his body language. Like, bro, you were pissed. You ain't fooling me.
Yeah.
Like he said everything right in the press conference afterwards. If you guys,
I think Wilson has enough cachet in that franchise to call a timeout in that instance too, though. Like I know that's the coach. That's the fault of the coach. But at the same time, if you're Russ and you're doing your homecoming and you see that clock ticking away, like I can call a timeout. Peyton Manning was sitting on the broadcast doing this for 45 seconds. Yeah, like come on. Everybody knew.
Calling one here.
Called the timeout.
Yeah,
and they could have called it with I think the guy got tackled a minute and 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Because they called the timeout 1 second at 20 seconds. So they could have called timeout at a minute 2.
And both of your running backs are averaging 5 yards per carry. I don't care. You don't have to run the ball. I'm not saying that, but there's multiple ways for you to pick up this first down.
You have timeouts. Why not go for it?
You call the timeout at 1:02. If you don't get it, there's 55 seconds and you have 2 timeouts. Let's say you play good defense. It's 3rd and 8, and the Seahawks are either going to go for a pass and go for a game over, or they'll run it and you'll still have 15 seconds, which isn't ideal, but you'll still have a chance. That was the obvious call to do. I mean, Make a do it. If you don't get it, you got 55 seconds and 2 timeouts. It's not horrible.
Yeah, let's just hope that Hackett doesn't get in situations like that because that's not good for football, man. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see a team put their head down in the fucking ground and just take the L on the 50-yard line with Russell Wilson behind the fucking ball. You know what I mean?
McManus is kicking this field goal. He's not in Denver. We're not kicking with elevation where he hit his longest field goal. Like, it was good. The distance was good. It was outside of the uprights. I mean, it was, like I said.
Kicker, before that kick, he was 1 for 7 on 60-plus yarders. How do you have confidence he's going to make it? It's 1 for 7. That ain't 5 or 6 for 7. That's 1.
Yeah, this isn't Justin Tucker kicking this bitch.
And I think, honestly, for real, the Ravens, even though they have Tucker, would have gone for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, they have the best kicker. Like, they would have gone for it.
Yeah, Lamar would have told them we're going for it. Lamar just has that confidence. Like, But I'll tell you who impressed me in the Seahawks, though. Old man Al Woods. Al Woods had 5 plays blown up in the backfield in that Monday night game. Like, he played tough. I think I like that kid Jordan Brooks too, man. I think he's going to be a premier linebacker in the league. I was very impressed. I think he had like 12 tackles and like he had 3 tackles for a loss the other night. It was a very impressive showing for Jordan Brooks as well. Very impressed. The only game that didn't seem like it was, well, I say this, but 2 games weren't close. The Ravens game and the Chiefs game. Other than that, what'd you guys think about Baltimore?
I think I think the Jets' defense is pretty good. And I think that, it's an adjustment without Marquise Brown, which is normal. And then Lamar came out in the second half and said, I'm Lamar Jackson, so I'm going to figure it out. And he did. I wouldn't be alarmed if I was a Ravens fan or a Lamar fantasy owner. Like, he still did okay in fantasy despite a very quiet first half. Jets defense is decent. I don't think there was anything shocking about that game, not to me at least.
No, I think
the Ravens are. There's not much to worry about with the Ravens. I don't think that they have a very good wide receiver room in Baltimore, but I think Lamar Jackson's one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL. So I think he's going to get the job done. I understand he's not one of the best 5 passers in the NFL, but just taking everything into consideration, I'd say Lamar is one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the league. And in terms of fantasy, 3 touchdowns is a good fantasy football day by any stretch. And I think that's pretty average for Lamar, a 3-touchdown day. And I think usually one of those touchdowns is probably going to come on the ground, so it's going to give you a little bit more value. Mark Andrews looked pretty good still. Didn't get much out of Isaiah Likely. Everybody was kind of hoping to see him be like the 3rd receiving option out there, and that was clearly Rashad Bateman.
Duvernay.
Duvernay was definitely their number 3 option out there. Excuse me. Thank you, guys. But yeah, I don't think there's much to worry about with the Ravens offense. And once J.K. Dobbins gets back in, I think it definitely clears up this backfield that it's super muddy right now. But I think once Dobbins gets back, it's all gonna be all right.
Yeah, Ravens gonna be just fine.
They played a good game.
Just to touch on one bright spot for the Jets, Sauce Gardner allowed 1 catch for 9 yards on the 2nd best tight end in the league. I know that he finished with a decent stat line, like 5 catches for 63 yards or something like that. But when he was up against Sauce Gardner, he only got 1 catch for 9 yards. That's freak stuff out of a rookie. He's going to be a beast going forward.
Yes, he is. I was very impressed with him as well. How about Joe Flacco throwing the ball 59 times?
It seems like every time he starts, he gets like 50-plus 30. He did it last year, too, in his only start.
So you guys are heavy into fantasy and dynasty, so let me ask you an opinion on Breece Hall. Any concerns? Were you guys high on him? Were you low on him? Where are you guys on him?
Not one. Talent will rise.
Chalmers is one of the
talking
biggest
to the number 1
Breece
Hall fan in the whole fucking fantasy community.
Yeah.
Talent will always rise to the surface, bro. Do not be scared of Breece Hall.
I am fading Breece Hall. I was fading Breece Hall, especially at his ADP coming into the season. Michael Carter got a bulk of those carries and looked fine. Like, I don't think that Michael Carter did anything to warrant Breece Hall getting more carries, and Breece Hall didn't do anything to warrant more carries. As far as the Jets offense goes, I don't think that there's really anybody you want in fantasy football. I was big on Elijah Moore coming into the year. I think he can still provide flex value for you. As far as Dynasty goes, I think he's still a good stash, but until they get Wilson out of there, until they get a quarterback in that backfield, I don't think that there's much to want or can have any desire to have any Jets players.
I'll be the middle ground here. I'll be the middle ground here with Breece and say that I'm a Breece guy. But the second he went to the Jets, my expectations just plummeted. Any other team, and I'm telling you that Breece Hall is a stud, and you tout him out proudly. But I don't know. The Jets' offense is just not good. And they already have Michael Carter, who they seem to believe in a little bit. They're giving him the ball here and there. But it could be a situation where Breece Hall just needs 5 weeks, and then we're looking at week 6, and Breece Hall is just going crazy. But Jets offense,
he's got to. They also have their two best offensive linemen are out for the year.
Yeah,
so that's not good.
He's got to get his feet wet in the league, boys. That's all it is. Talent will always shine. Just wait. And Elijah Moore, man, he played the no-fly zone. The Ravens have the best secondary in football.
Oh, I said he's going to be fine.
He's fine.
I just don't like their quarterback situation. Corey Davis.
The only thing that scares me is you guys were writing off. We didn't talk a lot about Garrett Wilson, but Garrett Wilson out-targeted Elijah Moore.
It's the quarterback. You can't trust Flacco, and nobody likes Zach Wilson. So you don't want to bet on, like I said earlier, you don't want to bet on bad offenses in real football or in fantasy football. So
just to rewind that statement real quick, how many times did you throw the ball again?
59 times.
Yeah,
he's just throwing it to whoever, bro.
Right,
bro. I think
he's throwing it to whoever. It doesn't matter what your fucking jersey says.
Right, Breece Hall had 11 targets out of the backfield. I know Carter had 8. Elijah had 9. Garrett Wilson had 11. It was just crazy the amount of times he had to throw the ball.
Yeah.
But last game we want to talk about.
I gotta jump.
That's fine. We're gonna wrap this up real quick.
It's been awesome. Good meeting y'all. Great conversation. Yep. So
absolutely, it was good meeting you.
Good to meet you, brother. Have a good night, brother.
You too.
Kansas City. Thoughts on Pat Mahomes, boys?
Thoughts? He threw 5 touchdowns. He's the best quarterback, and he's the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't think it's close. I think he's proving that if he's not going to be the best quarterback in fantasy, he's going to be top 3 to 5, just year in and year out, dynasty wise. I think he's better than Herbert, or as good as Herbert. He's still right up there with Josh Allen. So Pat Mahomes getting it done without Tyreek Hill, still getting it done with Travis Kelce, and just spreading the rock around the field. So
he shut everybody up.
Great.
He shut everybody up. He doesn't. I guess his point was proven. He doesn't need Tyreek.
Yep. He's never lost a week 1 in the NFL since he became a starter either. He's an absolute.
I'll say though, as far as dynasty goes, I did pretty much in a straight up trade Jonathan Taylor for Patrick Mahomes. When the Mahomes worries were a thing, that's already paying off a little bit.
I mean, yeah.
Both of those guys look great though.
Yeah.
But okay, so
CEH had a bounce back a week for the Chiefs. But this is kind of what CEH does: has a blow up week and then disappears for a little bit.
Yeah, so. What's up with that? How are we feeling about Clyde? Is that going to be a consistent thing, or is this a one and done type of deal?
I can see it being a little bit more consistent than maybe we expected, but I don't know. I think don't they have injured running backs? They have some running backs that are coming back, I believe. Am I mistaken?
No, McKinnon and Pacheco are both there.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know. I think CH is. I don't know. There's
another one there. Weird. There's another running back, Damian Williams.
Yeah, Williams.
He's on the Bears. He's on the Bears, but
there's a Williams. One of the 2 Williams is on that roster too.
There's a Williams on the Bears.
You're right. He's gone now. My bad.
But yeah, either way, I think this Chiefs offense is going to be tough to predict outside of Kelce and Mahomes, but Juju didn't look as awesome as some people may have expected, but I think Juju's going to be fine moving forward. I don't think you need to fade anybody necessarily out of this offense any more than Like, I don't think you need to adjust your expectations for anybody coming out of this offense going into the season.
Yeah, Chiefs are going to be weird because it's like you never know who's going to pop. Like, we just had a game where he threw 5 touchdowns and the guy was Clyde. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to trust any one chief. It's just like tote him out and then maybe they go off.
I thought Juju looked decent. I mean, he demanded targets. Yeah, you take away the fumble. I mean, it's a respectable line. It was like 7 catches for 80 yards. Like,
he just started to get a lot of hype coming, like, towards the end of the offseason there. Juju his ADP started to rise a good bit, and people were starting to talk like he could, maybe be like a wide receiver 2 for you this year or something. So
yeah,
I think just maybe adjust your expectations a little bit on that. Maybe more wide receiver 3 flex range, but
flip the script though. Y'all, Ryan, you told me Mike Williams over Hollywood Brown. Don't do that ever again.
Hey, I made a bad call. What do you want? It happens. I'll still stand by it. I would have started Mike Williams and taken the 3 points.
I started Hollywood, got the 15.
But guess what? Thursday's coming, and there's no Keenan Allen, and it's going to be Mike Williams.
It's going to be Mike Williams.
Me and AJ are starting Mike Williams in that league.
All right, then. Now, there you go.
But I think as far as the Cardinals go, Hollywood looked fine. Kyler kind of looked what you would expect him to look like, but still not anything. I think Connor got a touchdown just like he did that. Like, he's doing his James Conner thing. Like, the Cardinals look basically like they did last year, so I don't really think there's much to take away from this offense. Again, as far as expectations or projections go, just if you got Kyler Murray, ride him out. That's about it.
But I will say this. It's the end of the show. We're going to get to our segment for Thursday. All 3 of us on the screen are 1-0 on our Thursday night ticker.
Bang, bang, bang.
AJ couldn't be with us. I do want to say congratulations to AJ. The birth of his little girl today. Congratulations, buddy. We're happy for you.
Congratulations, AJ.
As long as she's happy and as long as she's healthy, man, that's all that matters. We are happy for you. Let's get to it. Chargers at the Chiefs. I picked the Chargers to be the winner of the AFC West. I'll start first. I'm riding with the Chargers.
What you got for a score?
I have the Chargers winning 35-31.
Well, that's funny because I have the exact same score, but I'm taking the Chiefs in this one.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs. Give me 35-31 Chiefs.
AJ took the Chiefs as well. I can't predict his score, but we're gonna throw it up there. He's got the Chiefs.
You're on your own island.
You're on the island of the Chargers, man.
Yes, sir.
It's a scary place to be.
I'm either going to be 2-0. There's going to be a lot of upset people in this moment. But other than that, man, it was good just to talk football. VSN, we appreciate the main stage. Anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, anybody. Nobody in right now, but everybody that tuned in, super grateful for. We got 2 likes in the video, a couple comments. Glad that people were engaged. And, I'd love to take the main stage again whenever we get the opportunity. And we stream all the time on Delaware Dynasty Bros. At least twice a week. We cover Dynasty content. We're all vets, so if you're looking to get into Dynasty or just need a few tips here and there to get the edge up on your friends, we're here to take care of you. And other than that, yeah.
Frankie, you want to say anything?
Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Go ahead and follow the tags at the bottom of our screens here. Give us some shout outs on Twitter if you like the content we're putting out. Shoot us your start sit questions if you got any questions during the week. We're here to answer, help you out, help you win some money in your league.
Yes,
and
sir.
Make sure you hug your loved ones.
Yes, sir. Week 2, Thursday night, another great game. We can't wait. Other than that, boys, we are out.